With Jujutsu Kaisen Shinjuku Showdown arc currently in full gear, and what a heart-pumping storyline it has been, there are a lot of hanging plot threads that Gege Akutami has left us fans with. One of the most notable as yet unresolved plotlines within the greater Jujutsu Kaisen universe is, of course, what might be the ultimate fate of JJK's big three sorcerer families, the Gojo, Zenin, and Kamo clans respectively. Join us as we try to unravel the tangled thread of Jujutsu Kaisen's most powerful clans in this video, and ultimately try to determine what is going on with the three great sorcerer families. Before we begin though, fair warning, full spoilers for Jujutsu Kaisen are up ahead. With that out of the way, let's dive right in. The Gojo Clan will never be the same again. Alright, let's get this out of the way right at the start. The Gojo Clan, as far as we can tell right now, is going to experience one of the biggest status quo shifts in Jujutsu society. At least, that's what we can surmise up to the 251st installment of Akutami-sensei's magnificent series. The only thing we know about the Gojo Clan going back as far as Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is that first, they are, or at least they were, considered hands down the most powerful among the three great sorcerer families, and that's all thanks to the birth of Satoru Gojo. Speaking of, the strongest sorcerer of the modern era is also the only Gojo clan member that has been revealed in this series so far. More importantly, and this is where the inevitable status quo shift happens, Satoru's a thing of the past ever since he kicked off the Shinjuku arc with Ryomen's Sukuna. That is to say, everyone's favorite boisterous, limitless using sorcerer is dead. Sukuna basically decided to have a break and turn Gojo's midsection into Kit Kat, and no amount of reverse curse energy is going to put the white-haired wonder of the Jujutsu world back together again. Now remember, aside from being a walking superweapon and a lovely annoying teacher at the Jujutsu High's Tokyo campus, Satoru was also made the Gojo clan head prior to the start of the series. With him dead, not only is there a power vacuum left in Jujutsu society, but the Gojo clan itself will basically lose its prestige in standing as the most powerful sorcerer family. Yes, it's completely possible that the remaining members of the Gojo clan will elect a new family head, but we shouldn't forget the fact that Satoru was the kind of talent that only appears once every few generations. That is to say, the Gojo clan will survive, but its influence and standing in Jujutsu society will be drastically reduced, leaving them open to threats from both inside and outside their family. And even though we haven't seen any other Gojo members appear in Jujutsu Kaisen as of chapter 251, the particular thought of having the family's members go into an internal feud is something definitely worth mulling over. Can you imagine it? A civil war between sorcerers who either possess Limitless or the Six Eyes would be an event that could further shake up the world of Jujutsu sorcerers. As far as outside threats are concerned, especially from one of the other two great sorcerer families, we'd say that the Kamo clan would be more likely to go on the offensive rather than the Zenin, and this is in spite of the fact that both Gojo and the Zenin have been historical rivals. Now, keep that in mind, because there's a reason that the generational Gojo-Zenin blood feud might not happen anytime soon, perhaps ever. And since we mentioned the Kamo clan, this leads us to what's going on with Jujutsu Society's resident bloodbenders. The Kamo clan is still going strong-ish. Of the three great sorcerer families in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, the Kamo clan stands as perhaps the one that will get out the least scathed when everything is said and done. As it stands, this family of blood-bending Jujutsu purists still have most of their members intact and alive, populating not just the Kamo household but forming a significant part of Jujutsu Society's higher-ups as well. There's just one kink that this long-standing family of traditionalists have to contend with, and that's the fact that their new family head is none other than Kenjaku. Yup, Kenjaku, one of the main antagonists of the series, has managed to worm his way into the family and become elected as its leader. It's all thanks to the ancient sorcerer's connection to one of the Kamo clan's most infamous members, the OG Noritoshi Kamo, aka the evilest sorcerer in history who's responsible for creating the death-painting wombs that Kenjaku was able to take his place as the family's current head. Originally, the Kamo clan was planning on allowing semi-grade 1 Jujutsu sorcerer and Jujutsu High 3rd year student Noritoshi Kamo, not the one from the olden days, to ascend the ranks and become its next head. But those plans were dashed when Kenjaku successfully wrested control of the Kamo in the aftermath of the Shibuya incident. It's no surprise though, considering that the family had it in for Noritoshi since day one. First of all, he's an illegitimate child of the previous family head and his mistress. Secondly, current members of the Kamo despise the boy's name, considering that his mom named him after the clan's most shameful member, the OG Noritoshi from the Meiji era. If not for the fact that, like Satoru, current Noritoshi possessed the Kamo clan's most prized inherited curse technique, blood manipulation, its members probably wouldn't have second thoughts about disowning him. To add to that, we've also gotten a glimpse about his parents' relationship with the Kamo clan at large, especially his mom. The main reason that she even named him after the evilest sorcerer in history was to spite the family's haughty members. Now, this just goes to show how notoriously bullheaded and short-sighted the Kamo clan's traditionalism really is, in that they'd rather elect the absolute worst person as their family head than someone who, despite being an illegitimate child, is pretty much a stand-up guy. To add insult to injury, the Kamo clan's elders didn't even choose the actual OG Noritoshi Kamo to be their family head. They basically went with someone who possessed, that's right, past tense, the despicable sorcerer's body 150 years ago. It's a ridiculous decision, but an unsurprising one considering we're talking about fundamentalists here. On the bright side, we've seen Fumihiko Takaba and Yuta Okotsu put a definitive end to Kenjaku right in the thick of the Shinjuku Showdown arc. And on an even brighter side, the entire Jujutsu Elder Council, with a majority of them made up of Kamo clan members, were all massacred by Satoru Gojo right before he proceeded to duel Sukuna. Say what you will about Satoru, but he made sure that Jujutsu society will change with or without him. Now, the Kamo clan's status is currently unclear, but we can suss out a few theories as to what's going on with this family of bloodbenders. For one, the Kamo clan might rescind their decision and take the current Noritoshi back into the fold so that they can install him as the new family head, as originally planned, as the dust settles from the Shinjuku Showdown arc. That's all well and good, but we shouldn't ever forget that we're talking about a family of snooty traditionalists, so it's just as likely that Noritoshi will remain a pariah and they end up reinstating his dad to be an interim family head. Or, and this is a far more interesting turn of events, it's not completely out of the question that the Kamo clan would choose to elect none other than Big Brother Choso to be the new family head. It might sound ridiculous, sure, but hear us out. For one, we've already witnessed the fact that this clan has no problem electing someone as detestable as the OG Noritoshi to be their family head, much less someone who's only impersonating that person, Kenjaku. Having said that, it's not too much of a stretch to think that Choso has a right to the family head seat, considering he's a direct descendant of the OG Noritoshi. Of course, this discounts the fact that Choso isn't necessarily a sorcerer. But again, we've already seen the Kamo clan make one stupidly dire decision, so what's stopping them from making another one? Yes, both Choso and the current Noritoshi are technically illegitimate children of the Kamo clan. However, the eldest Death Womb painting has the upper hand when you consider the fact that he's the firstborn son of the previous family head. It's just primogeniture at work. Come to think of it, a human cursed spirit hybrid becoming the leader of a powerful sorcerer clan harkens back to Yuki Tsukumu's idea of a world where humans and cursed spirits aren't at odds with each other. Regardless, there's undoubtedly going to be a huge shift in Jujutsu society when Akutami-sensei addresses these plot points. And since we're on the topic of huge shifts, there is no Zenin Clan. Ah, the Zenin Clan. This Spartan Jujutsu clan is without a doubt the only one of the 3 Great Sorcerer Families that has gotten its fair amount of exposure during the series. This time in the limelight ultimately saw the near extinction of this powerful Jujutsu clan after the Shibuya incident. In the aftermath of Kenjaku and this gang terrorist's attack on the residents of Tokyo, the Zenin clan's then current head, Naobito, died from the injuries he sustained during their encounter with Dagon. His son, Naoya, was next in line to become the clan head, but a special clause in Naobito's will stated that if Satoru were incapacitated or dead by the time of his demise, then Megumi Fushiguro, a Zenin by blood and Toji's son, will take the seat. Suffice it to say that this caused the Zenin clan to implode. Upon hearing of this news, Naoya and nearly all of the other members of the family plotted to assassinate Megumi and take his place as family head. In addition to that, they even made plans to kill Maki and Mai in order to completely stop any attempts at freeing Satoru. This coup, however, proved to be the undoing of the Zenin. Maki and Mai's father, Ogi, made moves to kill his own daughters, which inadvertently led to Mai's death and Maki unlocking the true potential of her heavenly restriction. Remember when we told you earlier that the Zenin won't be able to make a move against the Gojo Clan after Satoru's death, in spite of the fact that they've been at each other's throats for more than 1,000 years? Well, that's because Maki single-handedly eliminated each and every one of the family's members as revenge for killing Mai and for the lifelong grief the clan had put her through. By the time Maki was done hacking her way through the Zenin household, she and Megumi are the only remaining members of the clan alive right now. In fact, news of the Zenin clan's extermination also led to the family's removal as one of the Great Sorcerer Families in the world of JJK. Now, there might be only a couple of outcomes for the Zenin when the dust settles in the world of JJK. Assuming Megumi survives by the end of the series, it's likely that he'll cede his status as family head. For one, he didn't even have one bit of interest in leading it. For another, to say that he and Maki are a clan would be quite a stretch. In this scenario, however, it's more probable that Megumi passes the family seat to Maki. After all, the only reason she refused the offer from Megumi when he got initially elected as head was because Maki believed none of the other members would accept her authority. And where are those members now? They're all gone, which makes it the perfect opportunity for Maki to change the way the Zenin run things, and Jujutsu society at large for that matter. Alternatively, both Megumi and Maki would opt to remain as outcasts from the Zenin. Like Megumi, Maki has no qualms about leaving the family behind. And since Jujutsu's higher-ups, at least before Satoru slaughtered them all, booted the clan out of its prestigious position, it wouldn't matter to the two remaining members if the Zenin remained a thing of the past. The future of the three Great Sorcerer Families. The events of Jujutsu Kaisen have left the three Great Sorcerer Families absolutely decimated. When you consider everything that has happened to these clans and what it implies for Jujutsu society moving forward, we think that we're going to see the kind of world that Satoru Gojo envisioned at the start of the series. A world where brutal, ineffective traditionalism is replaced by a more progressive, open-minded point of view led by a new generation of Jujutsu sorcerers. Now, Gege Akutami has stated that Jujutsu Kaisen will end sometime in 2024, which means we fans only have about 30 to 40 odd chapters left if everything goes according to his plans. And honestly, we think it's not enough to tie all the loose ends left from the current JJK series. Aside from the ultimate fate of three Great Sorcerer Families, there are still numerous other plot threads that Akutami-sensei has yet to address. There's Yuji Itadori's status as a cursed womb death painting, making him a human cursed spirit hybrid like Choso, Nobara Kugasaki and Aoi Todo's current state, and let's not forget that Kenjaku's great merger is still well underway as Jujutsu High's sorcerers battle Ryomen Sukuna. All that information makes us think that, much like the current series, which is a sequel to Yuta Okotsu's story in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Akutami-sensei is spreading these tasty shonen-flavored breadcrumbs in advance for what might be a sequel to JJK. Because remember, aside from the few as yet unresolved plot points that we mentioned, there's also the looming threat in the world of JJK that Akutami-sensei seems to be setting up. As of chapter 251, not only does Japanese society in general now know about the existence of cursed spirits and Jujutsu sorcerers, the world at large does too. In fact, the American government is planning on using cursed energy as a new power source for their military. This hints at an upcoming arms race once the Shinjuku Showdown and the Great Merger concludes. In any case, only time and Akutami-sensei will tell what will happen to the three Great Sorcerer Families and the world of Jujutsu Kaisen at large. What do you think will happen to the world of Jujutsu Kaisen after the Shinjuku Showdown arc? Got any theories you want to talk about? Let us know in the comments section below. And to be the first to see amazing manga and anime content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications. We'll catch you in the next video, guys.